One, Estrella with my Journey Mind Body Spirit, and today will be the first from the series of the food scrap / EBT garden of me actually planting some stuff. So what we're going to have in this bed is a watermelon that grew from watermelon seed from the grocery store. What do you need, baby?
My toy clothes holder on my toes and it really hurt.
Sorry about that. My little girl had a Barbie accident. So as I was saying, we have a watermelon that grew from seed. This one has been in here quite some time, but it hasn't grown much because it's stuck in this little bitty pot. Then we have 3 cantaloupe plants. There was, I don't remember how many, but I broke a lot of them because they almost died twice. But we have some survivals, so we might. These 2 are not really doing that great. Look at that. There's like 1 leaf on one of them. So I might just cut both of those off. Then we have an orange bell pepper from seed from a bell pepper. We have a bunch of spring onions. Wow, it looks like it's been hot enough for them to drink up all their water too. We have a yellow cherry tomato that we're going to squish the seeds into the soil. And then a basil plant from the grocery store. See, it's usually in these little tiny things. This one has overseen its time inside of this little container and it got a lot of death. So hopefully it survives. My suggestion, if you do get these, to plant them right away. You may have to acclimate them to outside, harden them off, and I'll do a video kind of explaining that a little bit more at another time. But the most frequent herbs that I've seen in these plants like this that you can grow are basil, mint, and rosemary. So you can choose from any of those 3 to put in your garden. However, if you're doing rosemary and especially mint, you're going to want to put it in its own contained space unless you just don't really care, because if you was to put mint in here instead of this, these other plants would basically get robbed of so much of the water and everything, and the mint would take over. And rosemary does get pretty big, and it's probably one that would actually keep coming back. Basil usually will go to seed, but they do all enjoy the warm weather. So we're going to take this out. In the soil mixture, we used a lot of our cheap stuff, so I'm going to say, just for simplicity, it's about $2 worth of soil, and then $1 for this container that I got at the Goodwill. So we got another one over here, actually 69 cents. So less than $3 for all the soil and everything. So I'm going to plant another one here, but I did the composting in place in this particular bucket. So go to my other videos to get more details about that. So I'm going to take these out, and we're also going to do an underground watering by repurposing some jugs, which is another thing that you would be able to buy with your EBT if that's your only income. And if you don't have a few bucks for these containers and the soil, I would just use maybe some native soil, a lot of leaves, and whatever other matter you can do in some of your food scraps, and let that compost a little bit before you start your garden. So we got some containers here, and I poked 2 holes in each on the bottom, and so I'm going to bury them. And one, I'm going to basically, every time I fill it up, I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm going to see how much of a difference that makes. So this was pretty much full. It's gone down quite a bit. See how much That's from everything that is in there already started to compost. So I may need to add more soil in here. I think I am going to have to, but I'll just bury these things and then put some soil in the spots that I'm putting plants. This is what I hate about kind of putting the wood chips in first, because they just always want to avalanche. And the wood chips I got for free from an arborist. If you have enough space, they will deliver a whole truckload, so you can't just get a few. But you can also look on Craigslist if there's wood chippers in your area, and someone might just have too many and let you come get a bucket full. They're definitely worth their weight in gold, or garden gold anyway. So I'm going to do one on each side, and the one that has the lid, I'm sorry if I'm not focused on the right spot, you guys. I don't know why I'm like so zoomed in. So that one I'm going to put on this side where the heel comes down a little bit. Or maybe I should do it the other way around. If I like it better, I'll probably just find a lid and do lids on both of them. So that way it kind of drains a little slower. So I would still water it. I'm not going to just solely water these through the containers. The container is basically a backup reservoir, because when plants get, too thirsty and stressed out, you're more likely to have problems. When it's really hot, just like we're going to drink more water when it's really hot. So that way they're never having the problem where they're just like, oh my gosh, we don't have water. Let's drop our fruit. And that does happen sometimes, especially with tomatoes. So I'm going to grab a bag of soil for the middle of this. And I did actually add some extra amendments in the bed already, in the soil portion. One of them being rock dust, worm castings, and fertilizers. Sometimes you can find like organic tomato fertilizer, little packs for like $1 at Walmart. And you can use sand. So if you have a local beach, you can just grab a little bit of sand from there if your area permits that. And I don't know, or that's a good way, or just throwing a couple rocks in there. So I'm going to come back to you guys when I get this all planted. So that way it's a little bit easier to do, and then we'll water it.